Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of Geeks Reads. Today I want to talk about that wholly remarkable book, The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, an image of which you will see here. um, there will probably be some spoilers. I'm not sure how many, but it's hard to talk about a book this old without spoiling a little bit of it anyway. This book is actually based on a radio program written by Douglas Adams. He said he got the idea for when he was younger, hitchhiking around with like a Hitchhiker's Guide to Europe. And some of his friends had commented they remembered hearing him talking about, yeah, I should probably write a Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. The book was originally supposed to be a series of stories about like several different stories, and each time the story ended, the Earth would be destroyed. And as he was writing the first book, the first radio series, that is, he got more interested in the idea of the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and he scrapped that and just went on from where he had the idea of. And because there is a spoiler, the Earth is destroyed. This is the main character of the story is Arthur Dent, a British man in a rather nondescript house. He is a rather ordinary person in that he is easily confused, slightly neurotic, and just doesn't really know what to do with his life. And the story starts off with him waking up, being massively hungover, not remembering why he's hungover, remembering that he found that they were going to demolish his house to make way for a highway, having a friend of his pull him out to a pub to tell him he's from another planet, because in a serious parallel, the aliens are going to destroy the Earth to make way for a hyperspace bypass. So adventures ensue. We meet Arthur Dent, we meet his friend Ford Prefect. We also meet Trillian, a girl who Arthur met at a party years ago. We meet the Galactic President, Zaphod Beeblebrox, with both of his heads and all three of his arms. Zaphod's just this hip guy, you know. And this book is silly. It's science fiction, but it is silly. It tends to treat things like the Earth being destroyed as rather blasé and a very British style of comedy. A lot of the humor is very dry. It's both dry and silly. Sometimes it's only mildly silly, and sometimes it is very, very silly. You know, Monty Python-esque silly. And Douglas Adams' writing, I once heard someone describe it as his writing shows you what you can do with the English language, because the way he describes things is in ways that no one would ever have thought of before. I mean, he describes spaceships as hanging in the air much the same way that bricks don't. Just these off-the-wall, bizarre sayings that I love. And getting back to the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy is a book within the book. Ford Prefect, who Arthur meets, is actually a researcher for the book. He came to Earth to try and write an article about what the Earth is like, and got stuck there rather longer than he'd intended. The book is electronic. You know, most of the, you know, it's this little tiny electronic device with the words "Don't Panic" printed on it in large friendly letters. And, you know, it's got a screen on it. You know, you type in what you want, and it'll tell you anything you need to know. And a lot of the book is devoted to not the book itself, but narrations from the book, where whenever they mention something, like they mention the Vogons, you then get plot exposition from the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy telling you about the Vogons. And it is all very dry and sometimes silly. And you should never, on any circumstances, allow Vogons to read you poetry. It, you know, it mentions the Pan-Galactic Gargle Blaster, a very popular and highly intoxicating drink, which is very much like being hit in the head with a gold brick wrapped up with a lemon wrapped around it. The ravenous bug-batter beast of Trawl, Eccentrica Galambits, the triple-breasted whore of Eroticon 6. You know, anytime any of these things is mentioned, you get a little sentence, paragraph, half a page of plot exposition telling you why you should know these things, and sometimes they're basically excerpts from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, the book within the book. And I find it unusual that this book is only 250 pages. It is very, very short, and easily 20% of it is nothing but plot exposition. And honestly, I think that's what makes the book work so well. Because, I mean, the story itself is very silly and fun. Arthur being a easily confused, extremely neurotic person. Ford Prefect is probably one of the most normal characters, Ford and Trillian. Although Ford, being an alien, still does things that Arthur doesn't understand. Zaphod Beeblebrox, the Galactic President, is just an eccentric, outlandish, bizarre character in his own right. Everyone agrees that he's just wildly outrageous. There's Marvin, the paranoid android, the permanently depressed android, sometimes called the paranoid android. Marvin, the robot who just is continuously depressed. Here I am, the brain the size of a planet, doing menial, mundane chores that people ask me to do. And it's just these wacky things that happen for very little reason that I can tell. I first stumbled on this book. It was actually one of my teacher's supply closet. I remember going in there looking for like a ream of paper or something, and I saw this book sitting up on a shelf. It's like, what the hell is this? And then BBC made a TV series out of it. So this has been a radio program first in 1978, a book, 1979, and then a TV series in the early 80s, I think. So this went through quite a few iterations very, very quickly. And a lot of my high school nerd friends watched the TV series, and we quoted it like mad. And I know if I bumped into any of my high school friends and asked them if they knew where their towel was, they would know what I was talking about, even if you don't. This book is a lot of fun. I'm not sure if it's for everybody. I mean, it was obviously popular enough to have been redone 3 times in the span of 5 years, less than 5 years. Like I said, radio program in 1978, full novel in 1979, and then 2 or 3 years later, a full television series. They did make a movie out of it, a feature-length 1.5 hour, 2 hour movie that I didn't care for very much, honestly. It deviated from the original television show quite a bit, which is unusual because all versions of it are different. The book deviates from the radio show. The television series deviates from this. They actually broke the radio series into 2 books. This is just the first half of the radio series. And so the fact that I'm trying to make it beholden to something I'm more familiar with probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but I like the book and the TV show. They're similar enough that I don't mind the changes. Didn't care for the changes in the movie, even though which is funny because the movie actually had money for better special effects. The old TV series was just a cheap, crappy BBC TV special effects. They were horrible. And like Zaphod has 2 heads. In the TV show in the 1980s, it was obviously either a papier-mâché prop head, not paper, but like a fake prop head, or one guy standing close to the other one in like a, fake t-shirt with like 2 holes cut in it for an extra neck, for close-up shots where the second head, both heads had to move. And the movie, they used modern CGI effects, and it actually, in my opinion, was worse. But that's just an opinion, I guess. Would I recommend anyone read this today? If you like Monty Python, if you like that dry, absurd British humor, definitely read this if you haven't. This is a classic. It's a classic for a reason. It is basically Monty Python in space. If not quite the same, it is similar enough. It has the same British sense of humor. And if you do like Monty Python, if you like to read, I would definitely recommend that you read this, because you will just, it's not laugh out loud. I don't find myself laughing out loud hysterically reading this. I have reread it before this just to refresh my memory and figure out where it stops and where the next novel begins, so I didn't kind of go too far. But I guess I didn't wind up spoiling too much of it. There's not really a lot of character development. There's not a lot of, character arcs. Stuff just happens, much like you would expect from a Monty Python sketch. But it is funny. It is one of the few funny science fiction books out there that I know of. And it's been around for 50 years. Take a gander. I like it. That's all I gotta say. As always, thanks for watching. As always, my stuff is crap. And until next time, good hunting.